Hey, it's your boy Elder Rich here, and you're watching Envy's channel.
Welcome back to another episode of Sit Down with Envy. Now today I have 3-5 OCE with me, so we're gonna get straight into it. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Hey, what's up, guys? And thank you so much for having me today, Envy. So I am a currently Masters support player that used to play a bit of amateur competitive, as well as a content creator in OCE. And I'm a support main.
Support man. So we'll get straight down to it. How did you get into playing League of Legends?
So I remember it was in 2012-ish when I was like maybe 11, 12 years old. I was so addicted into games. Back then, I started off MOBA with Dota 2 in beta, and then all my friends are like, you know what? There's a new game coming out. It's called League of Legends. How about you play that with us? I was like, sure. And then I got addicted to League ever since, and I've been playing roughly 8 years already.
It's uh it's really bad, right? Because I think I'm around the same.
Yep, I wish I made a wiser choice 8 years ago.
Yeah, could have been playing COD. So you did touch on it a little bit. You said you have previous competitive experience.
Yep.
So let's go into detail about that.
All right. So I remember it was back in season 6 when Oceanic Open Ladder was a thing. So that was when top two teams from the Oceanic Open Ladder gets a chance to be in the previously Oceanic Challenger Series, which is a direct pathway to OPL or LCO right now. So basically, I was in a team with a couple of my mates, and then we ended up third place. So it was never lucky. If I ever got second place, I might have been playing pro right now. But we got third place, and I was like, nah, screw that. I'm not playing. I don't want to try pro. I'll just go back to studying and all that, you know.
Meh.
And basically, and then I just ended up playing or showing up rather in like a lot of LAN tournaments in Melbourne. Me and my team, we won roughly. We came first only once, and we came second twice, and there were like prize pools of like 2K or 3K ish, something like that. So it was quite fun, but it's always sad how I just really missed out on the on my golden age of going pro
Meh.
back then. But you know that's all good.
What's the difference playing now? Because I've never had to experience this, and I think a lot of people might be the same. Playing LAN, which is in person with your teammates against the enemy team, and playing online.
Yep. So you're just asking the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, really, really different. Like playing online, you only get comms and all that. Like you really only get comms. You don't really get to see your teammates or your mates, like whoever you're playing with. But playing LAN is like a different experience. Playing LAN, so basically the venue that I played in, which was an internet cafe in Melbourne, they had enclosed rooms of like fives
Yeah.
and with like glass windows. So it literally felt like you're playing pro and like having your projector screen on the outside, and I'll tell you one thing. It's really, really hyping. Like it hypes everyone up. It hypes your team, the audience, everyone. Everyone who's watching that game, like in person on the day, it's just so hyping. That level of excitement, and when you make a good play or when you win the game or when you win the final, you
Yeah.
literally stand up, you jump out from your chair, you're like go all out with your voice, like yes, like fuck yeah, and then you start hugging it, like hugging your whatever, like all those excitement that you cannot really experience when you're playing online. So maybe after the lockdown, just grab a couple of your mates, go down to your local internet cafe, and play some flex like fives. yo, it's a complete different experience that all of you needs. I'm just
Yeah.
not really just talking about like LAN tournaments or anything. Like if you're bronze, if you're silver, doesn't matter. Like regardless of your rank, get out there with your mates. If they don't have a car, you drive them down, right?
Yeah.
Like, and pretty much, gather together, and then you have like the level of fun is that it's something that you'll probably have never ever experienced that level of hype when you're playing. Like fuck yeah, all the celebration and all that.
I have a funny story. So I used to live in Sydney.
Yeah.
And so I went to an internet cafe during the day once, and this is around the time I was like Silver 4. A new champion had just came out. And because I'm, hard stuck silver at the time, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, who cares? So I load up ranked, and I lock Zoe in, right? Not being able to play it, not playing it before. The guy sitting next to me looks over at my screen. He sees I'm like 2 and 12, and he just like shakes his head and like looks back at his own screen because
Yeah.
we all knew Zoe had just came out, and it's it is a lot more different when it is in person. Because I didn't even know the guy, and
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
just hilarious.
Like before when I was pretty high elo before, like I didn't really play at home. I only played at internet cafes. And I'm that regular that people like, all the regulars know me, all the staffs they know me. Like like I'm a ranked person, so I
Yeah.
would only play ranked back then. And like there would be like 2 3 people just gathering around, just looking at, oh, this is how this is how high elo players play. And then it's like, and then like if you make a good play, they're like, oh my god, you're so good. Like they start actually praising you in person. So it's quite fun, and especially back in the days. I remember it was back in 2014 when I was roughly platinum back then. So that was when OPL, the Oceanic Pro League, wasn't played in person back then.
Yeah.
So in my internet cafe, there's this team called Team Four Not. If any of you guys ever watched OPL back then, but they used to play OPL in the internet cafe, and then there would be this entire crowd of people just literally just standing behind them, and none of us dared to make a sound because we know they're playing they're playing pro in the in
Yeah.
the internet cafe. It was just pretty funny. Like playing personally in internet cafe, like like
It'd
you and your
almost be
other
like
players
it's
can actually see each other's faces. And the
yeah.
best part is, yeah, if you're an angry person, right? If you're someone who flames a lot in league, right? Imagine you, instead of typing, right, just literally turn your head one way and then open your mouth and just yell yell at whoever you need to yell at. It's really it's really fun.
And then watch yourself get hit in the jaw.
Yep. If I've seen a lot, like I've seen a lot of like people flame each other, like send me your address. but But when you're playing in person internet cafe with your mates, like your mates are like, send your address. Like, yo, bro, I'm here now.
Yeah.
What you gonna do, huh?
It's a bit like that, right?
And then basically after me playing in a lot of lands, I sort of just had enough of gaming, so I moved on to my life pretty much. I got a job, and then after that, and then after that, COVID hit, and then so I
Yeah.
have a lot more free time. And then that was when someone I met in ranked said, you know what? There's a new amateurs tournament coming up. It's called Samsog. I was like, oh yeah, heard of it. And then they're like, oh yeah, you wanna join us? I was like, sure, why not? And then I was playing for MCOM in the Summoners Society. I think I forgot the name of the tournament.
It's
Some
like
sock
the
invitational.
high elo, yes, the invitational.
Yeah, it's like the amateur tournament of OCE. And then I was playing for MCOM in Split 1
Yeah.
of 2021, and I think our end result was fifth in the split, which wasn't really that happy, but it's some sort of commitment. Like
Yeah.
it's something for me to do, and it's really fun playing like in a semi-competitive level with with actual teammates that you know.
So what's the now, because you are high elo, right? I'm gonna go a little bit off topic real quick, just because you did mention some sock and all that. What's the difference between loading into solo queue, as a high elo player where, it's very likely every maybe couple games you might get some of the same teammates, so the inbuilt synergy might be there after playing with them ages, and then the comms in a high elo team.
All right, so that's a very, very good point that you brought up there, Envy. So it is very, very different. So the best way to describe the difference is that you're playing completely two different games. Just imagine that. Say, like solo queue is like you're playing Call of Duty, and and then competitive, like let's say Overwatch, it's like two
Yeah.
complete different games, right? Like, basically solo queue, you go into a lobby, you go into a game, you focus on how you're gonna win, right? Like, not sure about everyone else, but I think most people focus on how they're gonna win the game because you're playing ranked to win, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so I would focus on myself mainly. To, how would I perform well in lane, and then how can I affect the map? So that's literally my only thoughts, especially now high elo is like a solo only masters above. You can't really do it with 80 carry, or you can't really deal with like you can't have mid jungle synergies. So you really just gotta focus on yourself, right? And then synergy wise, if you play with that player, like maybe 3-4 times, you sort of roughly have an idea of what they like, what's their game plan in general, right?
Yeah.
And then at a high level of play, you expect them to, land their spells and do damage, and you just quickly calculate, oh, I sort of have enough damage to execute, the enemy laner, so I'll just flash in, go in, do whatever. If they don't, then that's fine, right? They suck. If they don't, they suck. You can't and guys, try not to type in solo queue. If you type, like if one person start typing, the entire team will start to type. And with all that APM you wasted on typing, you are wasting your time and your APM and your energy for not trying to win the game. If say someone makes a mistake, you just forget about it. Like people make mistakes, forget about it. Like don't try it. Like even if they make a mistake, like I don't know, the 10th time, like Yasuo hitting that 0-10 power spike, just that's fine. Right? Like chances are the player is just having a bad game, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't really have bad games 10 games in a row unless he's a board account or whatever. But obviously, if he's a board account, why would you not dodge? If if someone's having a bad game, just don't worry about it. Just quickly go next, or focus on yourself and try carry him. But obviously, compet is different. Like you get like 5-man in comms, you do scrims, you do practice games, like you practice together, and you probably like spend because when I was playing for MCOM, we used to scrim roughly like only six games, roughly 6 games per week. So that's a good 6 hours per week,
Yeah.
playing together with your teammates. But obviously, pro players are different. They probably scrim like 4 or 5 hours per day for 7 days a week.
I think it's they have a day. According to what I know, the NA teams, they have the day off on Monday. However, they scrim a lot more. It's like two double blocks or something.
Yeah, so for Chinese teams especially, because I've seen a lot of news coverage and the player interviews, they would scrim. So LPL team has 16 teams,
Yeah.
right? Like any other pro league only has like 12, like 12 teams, or but LPL has 16 teams. So they don't really take rest, and players do practice over 12 hours per day just to just to be on top notch of their mechanics and their plays. So they would scrim each other. So they would all have book scrims like against
Yeah.
each other. So they would book 7 days, right? But the catch is they would not only scrim against LPL teams because China and Korea are so close apart that they scrim each other as well. So LCK teams and LPL teams, they it's a inter-region scrim, weekly or daily even, right? Like say RNG scrims against FPX, and then the next day they scrim against SKT. Like that's the level of practice. Right, so we've gone a little, a little bit too
Little bit
far.
off track, right?
But anyway, we're back to our main topic. So
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 we, oh, yeah,
so basically what happens was you load into a game with 4 players with 4 players that you've played for a long time. The game starts when bans and pick phase starts. Right, especially when we have a coach. We had an amazing coach. Just a quick shout out to Cavi.
oh fuck
He's
heavy.
really good with like bans and picks and game plans and all that. He used to play pro. Anyway, so the game starts when bans and pick phase starts. You need to have a you need to have a really good understanding of like what team comps, like what champs to pick first. You leave like a counter pick, and then there are picks that count as your picks, so you want to ban them out first, but at the same time you don't want to be wasting your bans because they're very precious and valuable.
Yeah.
So after picking out a team comp, your coach tells you, oh, jungle, maybe put top side as weak side, so you want to be ganking bot more, just forget about your top side. Then ADC or carry or whatnot, like because your ADC is like hyper carry, or like because like your team comp is built towards ADC, or rather, just don't worry about your ADC. He can just stay down there and just die 10 times. It's fine. You focus in the top lane. Top's gonna carry because top. I don't know. Top is so good. Or you draft like synergy, like top jungle, mid jungle synergies and all that. It's really it's really different from solo queue. But the most different part, right, is the comms, and it's basically the you can actually talk to your teammates, right? It's not like you can only ping. You can talk to your teammates. Oh, I want to push the bot tower. Can you please help? Can jungle please shadow me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna shove, and then jungle can be like, I'm gonna look for dragon. Can you please shove your lane in? I'm looking for crab. Shove your lane in now before I AFK. No, that's solo queue. You can't really AFK in a pro game. But you have all these communication going up, so it's like a complete different game. So players do seem to play more consistent in a competitive level or a semi-competitive level. So you'd see like kills happening less and less. It's mainly like macro play because everyone plays at a similar level. So it really depends on like jungle pathing, like objectives, like trades. So how about you take dragon, we take rift, and then we'll get the first tower, and then like all those little macro trades like this. That's what makes competitive and solo queue different. And especially with the communication part. Communication is a very important thing in League of Legends, or in like anything rather. Communication is very important in not only League but like other games, competitive or non-competitive games, and obviously like your daily workspace, like when you go to work. Communication is the key, right? So what's missing from solo queue is the communication. You're missing communication with your team. So half of the times you don't really know like if say I'm a support main. Half of the times I don't know what's inside my ADC's brain. Right? You don't know what they want. Like you don't like it's like you don't really know if they want to shove or just freeze, go back. Like you only communicate with pings. Say if my ADC just pings like pings a minion wave. Of course, that means to shove, right? It's like,
Yeah.
but definitely that is like we're talking about the effectiveness or the efficiency of communication. Definitely in competitive level, if you heard what's that thing called where the pros mics
Mic check.
mic check, yeah, mic checks. So they'll be like top, 80, 80, 80 in the flash, 80 in the flash, like that. Like, or it's like 80, 80, 80. Like, like that's efficient way of communicating, right? And then that's what makes things different. That's what makes competitive and solo queue different.
Yeah,
Yep, it plays a big part in this game.
it does. Um, I was on my Smurf maybe like a week ago, and I was playing AD carry
Yep,
because it's the account that I play AD carry on. Now
yep,
my main's P4, but my Smurf at the moment's bronze 1. So like there's a huge like skill gap in the two.
yep.
And so I'm playing Aphelios, and I set up this freeze because I'm very very like safe when I play AD. I'm not taking shit fights like regardless of who I'm into. I'm just looking to deny farm. Right, so I set up the freeze. My support breaks it. I set up the freeze again, and this time I communicate. Just leave the minions alone. But when you get into solo queue, and this even happens on my main, you get people who will just do it just to try and fuck you off. Like they are trying to annoy you just for fun to see your reaction.
Yeah,
Which people aren't gonna do that in a competitive environment because you are trying as a team to win the game. Where solo queue is like, we'll probably win the game anyway, even if I do this small thing to bug you,
that's exactly right.
and
Like,
it's just
yeah. So I was actually playing my Smurf today in gold. So what happened was it's like secret account in gold. I was just trying to have some fun. So what happened was my jungle was really stubborn. Like he might not be actual, he's not really stubborn in that, like compared to other players, his skill level. But to me, he was sort of stubborn. I was playing mid, so I really felt like on that exact moment, if I were able to talk to him, right, come mid now,
yeah,
it's a free kill, right? If I was actually able to talk to him, not type because I rather not waste my APM typing because I'm focused on my laning, right? But however, if I actually could talk to him, I think that game would have gone completely different. It's gonna be so easy,
yeah,
right? It's just the level of communication. And speaking of communication, like in like other games, right? Say Dota 2. In Dota 2, you can actually talk to your teammates in game. So if you're in a public lobby, like solo queue, whatever, like you can communicate by
yeah.
just like either you can leave your mic open, you can press to talk. It's really efficient way. Because me, I'm a Dota 2 player myself too. So if I was say if I'm getting ganked, I would literally just because I use press to talk, I would press that button. I'd be like, come on, guys, TP, help me, mid, like TP,
Yeah.
like now, right? Whereas in League, right, if you're getting ganked and you see a team has TP, you have to press tab, you have to literally waste so much of your time when you could be making an outplay
Yeah.
by pressing but you just have to press tab and just spam like your teammates TP, like you click on it like 100 times just so that you're telling him that you're expecting his TP. That's that's just really different, right? Because he might not even realize, oh, my bot's getting ganked. How amusing! How amusing! Oh, it's too late for TP. Hi, Siebes.
Yeah. Um, it's very odd considering League's been around for so long, where it's one of the only like multi massive games that doesn't have a voice chat.
Yeah, I think the main
Because
reason is that people are gonna be very toxic.
yeah, but there's a mute option, right?
Yeah,
It's the
there is a
same.
mute option, definitely.
Um, a lot of people are keyboard warriors. They're more
Yep.
likely to say it with their keyboard than with their voice.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Cause I played Dota a lot myself, even till this day. So basically, if anyone flames, I would just mute them straight away. And plus the punishment is really insane. So if you would, like if anyone was really abusing their teammates, they get banned. Like they get muted, not really banned, but like
Yeah.
they get chat restricted or their voice restricted for like 24 hours or like 48 hours immediately. Like not really immediately, but let's say 1 hour or two. So if they have the punishment in place, I think this would definitely make a great impact on League of Legends, this game in general.
Because a lot of people, the way people start to flame each other is because there's miscommunication between the two, and having a open line of voice chat is going to solve not all of it, right? Because people are still going to have different opinions on how to play the game, but it's going to solve at least a good 40% of most arguments.
Yeah, and that would just make the game more fun, in my opinion. Like, if there are people who flame you, just let them flame. Like they're gonna get banned because you know they're gonna get banned, right?
Yeah.
So like if the punishment system is out there and working, so if they flame you, they're gonna get banned anyway. So just mute them and just play. There's nothing to really worry about. That's just my personal experience from Dota.
Right. So we've talked about some of your previous competitive experience. Now, you mentioned how you joined up with MCOM, which was through you were playing solo queue.
Yep.
And someone on your team was like, "Yo, come play on this team."
It was actually Cavi, the
It was
coach.
Cavi.
Yeah, so I was really smurfing. Like that account was really, it looked absolutely amazing. Like win rate and everything was back in plat one. So then basically Cavi just added me and is like, yo, you wanna try out like maybe playing semi-competitive? I was like, sure. I was really keen. I was actually really keen back then because it was literally like
Nothing
just
else to
before the
do.
lockdowns. So I was like, sure, why not? And then I joined them, and I found playing MCOM was a really good atmosphere, and playing in a community like it's really inclusive, and everyone tries to help each other to become a better player
No.
or
So
supportive to each other rather.
yeah, I do find there are a lot of people who are supportive of each other in the scene.
Yep.
So moving away from playing competitive, you have gone into more of a entertainment slash solo queue player. Talk us through a little
That's
bit about that.
that's right. So basically it's mainly something to do with my schedule, like my time and everything, because I still work, even though it's reduced hours. I still work, and basically that's like when you work, like when anyone works, they get pressure from work, right? Unless you're flipping burgers and Maccas, but even that, you're probably still getting pressured during rush hour, even if you're flipping burgers and Maccas. So you get a lot of pressure from work. Right, and then basically I was feeling the same. And then I have to squeeze 2 days for my scrims, and then I have to focus on myself, like like my other social activities,
Yeah.
which I barely had any time. And on top of that, I still have to vacate the entire day to actually play the tournament, because the schedule is different each week. Like say this week you might play 6 p.m. Next week you might be playing 10
8 p.m. or
p.m. or 1
something, yeah.
p.m. So I had to squeeze a lot of time, or not even squeezing. Like I have to block my time free, a lot of my time, a huge block. Just so that we can practice and get better. And then I have to do my decays on my main account. I have to play solo queue. I need to climb. So it was basically like it was to a point where I just felt like it's just too much time. It's too much. It's too time consuming, and every time, and that's not really the main part. Like the worst part is, right? The worst part is when everyone says, right? So 10 players, your team and the team you're scrimming against. Say I'm scrimming against you, Envy.
Yep.
Right? We're like, you know what? Like 11 p.m. scrim, let's go. Right, 11 p.m.
It won't start till 11:30.
Oh, tell me about it. So what happens? What happens is at 10:30, I have to stop queues. Like I literally have to stop queuing. I can't do anything else because I know the game's gonna go longer than 30 minutes, right? And then, so basically, I just sit there, wait 30 minutes, and then players slowly showing up after 11 o'clock, like, and then people will be like, oh my girlfriend's this that, my cat's this that, my mouse is broken. I need to cook food. I need to eat food. My
I have
parents
to
are
go
yelling
have
at me, or like,
dinner, right? Like,
and then the games don't really start until like maybe 30 minutes or even 40 minutes. The worst part was the worst time was we actually waited 1 hour and then it didn't show up. So that was really like a good 1 hour and 30 minutes. I could be playing solo queue, right? That's um like ideally I could have played 3 games. So that's really taking a bit too much time. And even though if people shows up, right, if people shows up 15 minutes after the screen time, great. Thank you so much for being here on time. But like we scrim, obviously we don't scrim for one game because everyone's squeezing their time for always, like they're not gonna block out their time for one game. It's always like either 2 games. Usually it's 3 games. It's not really best out 3. It's 3 full games. So then after one game, I'm like, yep, we won, or F, F, we lost. It's fine. And then we quickly go over the game, right? Like, have a smoke, or we drink some water, wash our face, like we replenish ourselves so
you're
that we're
trying
good
to
to,
like
to play.
reset yourself, especially if you've lost, to reset the
Yeah.
mindset.
So to reset the mindset, we take like 2-3 minute break, right? And then the enemy team's like, nope, our coach wanted us to do a VOD review. So we waited another 30 minutes so that we can play the second game. Yeah, they're like, oh no, my coach wanted us to do a VOD review. Sorry, guys. I'm like, dude, you won the game. How the fuck you want to do a VOD review when you won the game so clean? We're just waiting to play a second game. Come on, just let us play the last game, and then we're done. We're done for tonight, man. I need to play solo queue. I got stuff to do, man. Like, yeah, we'll make it very quick. I was like, okay. And then so their quick was 30 minutes.
Yeah,
So
damn.
5 of us literally sat there 30 minutes. Just everyone's muted. Everyone's doing their own things. Like, can't really do a lot of things when you have to wait. Like, because you don't know when the enemy team is free. Like when the enemy team is done, you literally just sit there and you can't really get away from your computer because they might just say they're ready at any time, and that has pissed the crap out of me. And then to a point where I was like, oh, I'm done. Like this is taking too much of my time.
It's not worth it, right?
It's not worth it, yeah. And then so I took a break first. And then I just found out like streaming. I really enjoy streaming. So I just made the decision pretty much to just step away and then just to full-time stream my solo queue and like make videos instead. So currently I've got a YouTube channel that updates roughly once or twice every week, and TikTok maybe 3 videos every week. So now instead of waiting on other team to do a VOD review, I can actually like make videos, edit videos, or stream or climb. Pretty much do whatever the fuck I want to do. I've
You're
never felt
on
so amazing.
you're on your own schedule instead of being on someone else's schedule.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Like, you're not really on someone else's schedule, rather 10 people's schedule at once. Right? Like it, especially when it's not really pro, like professional level, it's just amateur level. People are not really on time. Like people don't really honor, time schedules, or like, set time. 8 o'clock, that's it. 8 o'clock, I have to be online in lobby, ready to go. Right? If I check my everything. I check food. I eat food. I cook food like 30 minutes before. Like
Yeah.
everyone gets prepared like at least 5-10 minutes before, knowing that they're good to go on the dot, like literally on the dot, on time, right? In like semi-competitive or amateur level, right? when you say scrim at 8 p.m., they're like, "Yep, I'm getting ready at 8 p.m." So only at 8 p.m. they'll start to get ready, and people are different. Like some people that get ready like is literally like them turning on the computer, and other people are like, "Oh shit, I have to eat food, man. I have to feed my cats." Dude, my parents are shouting at me. They cooked me dinner. I was like, come on,
I have to
guys.
go sit at the table and eat dinner with them for 25 minutes, right? Like,
Exactly. And then when you're not done, they're like, don't you dare leave, son.
it's very rough. I remember my work schedule. I used to play the Iron to Gold on a Thursday evening.
Oh, yes.
I'm in New Zealand, which means my time zone is 2 hours ahead of the normal like Australian time, obviously
Yep.
outside daylight savings and whatnot. And I would get home at 15 minutes after start time of the tournament, but the tournaments never run on time. Like it's very, it's like very weird because sometimes the bracket will come out a couple minutes after the start time. Other times it will take 15 minutes. It's all based on what team, like if there's an issue with a team or whatnot. So I'll tell my team have a sub ready for me, but I will jump on my computer the moment I get home, and most of the time my computer's already on. So for
I
instance,
am.
they would be able to stall out for me. Um, However, if I was to get home, let's say I know tournament starting at 8, I know I'm not gonna get home till 8:30. I'm like just grab a sub for the night because I also don't want to be that person who, I'm not home. They win game one, and I'm like, well, fuck you. You're the sub. I'm the starter. I'm playing. It's just he was there on time. He should get to play the games.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's really not fair on everyone else, but you can't really, you know, because not everyone's responsible. Like not everyone is a responsible person, like regarding time or whatnot. But what it felt like to me was just like me just not really being not wise with my time, pretty much.
Yeah,
And I think it's just better because it's like more entertaining. Like it's really entertaining me. I'm entertaining myself when I entertain others.
yeah,
So I really like that feeling of being able to entertain others or other people. They get the feeling of happiness of when they watch my videos or when they watch my stream. So I think being a moving to a part-time content creator was really really good. It was really really good decision made by me. But I do still miss playing amateurs. That's for sure. But whenever when I have the feeling of I miss playing amateurs, and I was just thinking about all the long queue, not the queue times, all the long times that we have to wait for like scrims and all that, a lot of headaches.
and
Like we
like
have
the
to,
tournament games, right?
yeah,
Like,
and then not just not just enemy team, right? Like we had like team meetings, everyone,
uh,
no one's on time. So it's just more pros over cons. I mean, more pros over cons when I think about moving towards a streamer or content creator.
yeah,
When I can take control of my own time, that just felt great.
yeah. I mean, I was a bit the same, right? I don't know how much you know about my history, but I've been around the low elo scene for I want to say coming up 3 years. Um, I've won quite a few number of events. My trophy case is very, very full nowadays. Uh, but just when you look back on it, I regret some of my like the people I've played with because
Yep.
I remember the times where they're not on time or they're not actually playing the game, but they're still like, well, I still want to play in the tournament, right?
Yeah.
But they're completely cold when it comes to the hand movements and actually playing the game, so they don't even know what they're doing. They're off playing TFT or Hearthstone or something, or like you said, team meetings, right?
Yep.
But they've got the Discord on the second monitor and they're playing a different game, so they're not even paying attention to the team meeting or the likes of, for instance, I've been in a lot of team group chats, where people will mute the group chat.
Yep.
And so there's no point of the group chat because you have to go DM them anyway
Yeah.
because they're not going to answer the group chat because they hadn't seen the message. And it's how much do you really care about this?
It's just the different level of commitment. Like if I'm making a full commitment to my team, but other people are just not really making, a similar effort, then you have that feeling, like you're up and down feeling of that, and like, if he's not even trying, like, why would I?
Especially if you're losing.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
losing, it makes it 10 times worse.
That's exactly right, Steve. So me and Envy has gone through the similar things.
It's I once played on a team where, so I'm very public about this. If I'm off rolling for someone in a team environment, the person playing my role I have to think they are better than me in my role. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much tilted the entire time because I'll pan over to what they're doing mid and I'll be like I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I could be doing that much better. I could have killed him, right? And it's just psychologically hurting your own game because you don't have that same trust in your teammate.
Yeah, I think that's with everyone really. Like, even in pro scene, because you just get that. I think like it's just a psychological thing. Like it's psychological, logical to human being. If they see the replacement, or you're the replacement, if you're doing better than the starter, or if you're starter and then you're getting replaced, right? And then you see your replacement. When they play, like either they play better than you or you play better than them, you'd be like, this is unfair. Like I'm not taking this shit,
Yeah.
right? Like even off games, right? Like girlfriends, boyfriends, like what the fuck? I'm so much better than this guy she's with right now, or like what the fuck? How come he gets promoted to manager and I'm still like like it's same thing like it's just something that builds in like it builds like it's something that builds into your brain the moment you're born. I
Yeah.
swear to God.
Well, I've the funniest thing to me, and this has happened a couple times. It's when I've gone and replaced someone on the team, and then the community perception is, oh, this is a downgrade, and he's not as good as X player, like insert player here, and when my style complements the rest of the team much better than the previous person, and the team just functions on all cylinders and is just like beating everybody. It's kind of like, well, where are the haters now?
Yeah, so this is actually a common part of pro players. Not only they need to play at a top-notch level or professional level with the mechanics, but they have to keep up the same. Like they need to keep up the same level of professionalism with their mental health. So say, if Faker was to get replaced, right? Not really replaced. If Faker was to get subbed out, like even before like Easy Hoon or like
Yeah,
there's been a lot of names back then, right? You name it, but if Faker's subbed out, right? Imagine all the fans attacking that someone who just really wanted one shot in a game. Right? They'll be like, "Why are you replacing Faker? Faker's so good. You're so shit, man. Like you can't do even half as good as Faker. Like, get the fuck out of here." Like them, like to that actual player as a professional player, as a pro league player. Like it's something that not every, but most pro players they have to go through. Right? They have to keep their mental on track. Like they can't really just focus. Like they have to focus on the gameplay. They can't really focus on anything else because focusing on anything else, it literally like affects the outcome of the game. Say like Easy Hoon. Why did Easy Hoon like? I remember there was this decisive game. It was best out fives, and basically it was game five. It was 2-2, and Easy Hoon subbed in for Faker. And then everyone's flaming Easy Hoon after he lost the game. It was like, fuck, man, like, it's game 5. It was a really important game. Like, why? Whoa, I just like just imagine that player. Just imagine that player really wanted one chance or one shot at winning this game for his team to
Yeah.
to prove everything wrong, to prove everyone wrong, to prove all the haters wrong, to just make the win speak out for his name. But like it's not like he didn't try, right? It's not like he's bad, because if he's bad, like his coach wouldn't have made that decision,
No.
because players don't really get a say, especially in Korea. In Korea, coaches get much better says. Like coaches are like, let's say you're in an army, right? Because a Korean pro teams are literally like an army, like or an army boot camp, right? So all the players are like those freshies, like fresh meats, and then the coaches are like the instructors or like the person with the highest rank.
Yeah.
If the coach tells you to go this item and you go a different item, the coach will literally say, you know what, you are off for the next month or for the next game or for the next thing, whatever. Right? Like coaches have a much better say. So, like everything is there for a reason, but people just get that level of hate when they see when they see the performance difference, or they're biased. They're not really seeing things objectively. They're just like, oh, you know what, Fake is so good. He has to be playing better than this player, and this just
I
adds a mental burden to anyone. Like really, right? It's not just in the example that I've just stated. Like even in like Iron to Plat games, like Iron to Plat tournaments, like everyone, like even like it applies everywhere else in life too, like as I said before,
yeah.
right? Like if your girlfriend's dumped you for another person's, and then you're like, what the fuck, he's not good, like he's not even as half as good as me. Like obviously you have the
Yeah. You have to
different
have some self-worth.
feeling of difference.
Now the Faker Easy Hoon scenario is actually probably one of my favorites. Because it was 2015.
Yeah.
Now Easy Hoon at the start of the year was a lot better on the meta champions, because Azir was like very very super popular and Faker just couldn't play it at the time,
Yeah.
which is why Easy Hoon was getting a lot of the starting games.
Yeah.
Um, they played the 2015 final where Easy Hoon played all the games and Faker didn't even play a single game.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
But my issue with this is they went to MSI, and in the finals, Koma tried to be like, Easy Hoon's gonna play the losses, right? Easy Hoon came into the series. EDG was ready. They were firing on all cylinders, which put Faker in a bad spot to where they're already down games, which he didn't even have any decision in. Faker gets to game 5, which in theory it shouldn't have gone to a game 5. He gets baited into a LeBlanc pick.
Yep, and I think EDG's mid at that time was Pawn.
Yeah,
He picked a Morgana,
yeah.
which is
Morgana
literally
navigated
like the
into the mid
best
lane.
counter. That was such a classic game. I still remember.
It was very genius, but looking back on it, I would love to have seen the series Faker playing all 5 games, because I don't think it goes to 5 games.
Yeah, definitely. I think the last game was definitely a draft gap. It was literally a draft gap. It was well done by EDG's coach. But you see here, right? Coach is a part of the team too.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about competitive games, it's not just that the actual players sitting on stage playing. It's like actually a lot of work. Like because I've played quite a bit. So I can confidently say that coach's decisions make up at least 50% of the actual gameplay.
Yeah, Kevy cost us a game back in the day.
And that little pick, right? That pick literally just defined like that. That's the key
Yeah.
to EDG's victory. or SKT's little downfall, pretty much.
Yeah, because it was
And
the only event that stopped them from getting a Grand Slam. Yeah.
yeah, so otherwise EDG, I mean SKT would have won, like, they won the LCK regional finals, they won Worlds. All they're missing was MSI. Actually, I don't think SKT's ever won MSI.
2017, I believe.
27. That's the only MSI they won.
It's the or was it 16? I'm pretty confident they won. They won one of them.
Well, one of
I
them.
think it, yeah, because they played G2 in the 2017 fight. I think they won both.
Ah.
Um,
So, because I remember EDG won an MSI and RNG won an MSI.
yep. So SKT won
Oh, RNG
2016
won
and
two
17.
MSIs.
Yeah.
One was with Xiaohu mid, and the other one is with Xiaohu top.
Yeah. So I remember this one because again 2016 the bracket kind of fucked RNG in the 2016 MSI one. I kind
Yeah.
of want I want your opinion on this then because I've spoken to a lot of people about bracket formats, right? Especially when it came to like the most recent like BSV one, where they put the first seed and the third seed on the same side of the bracket. Um, Now I had people saying, well, it shouldn't really matter, right? But in like my example is 2016 MSI semifinals. So RNG got the first seed out of groups, and SKT got the fourth seed. Now RNG didn't get to pick who they play, but because SKT had a horrible group stage, they had to match each other in the semifinals, which allowed Counter Logic Gaming to match up against Flash Wolves. And so RNG was kind of just screwed based on draw, whereas they easily would have made the finals of that event. And the event looks, I think SKT still wins, but it's just a much better finals instead of semifinals.
Yeah. So speaking of brackets, I do actually have a lot to say about brackets because the thing is, like, currently the LPL summer season finals was just played a couple days ago, and then a lot of people were saying, especially FunPlus fans, they were saying if it was just single elimination, FPX would have won already. But because it's double elimination, right? It's double elimination.
Yeah.
EDG has actually, EDG wasn't really placed that much on the top, but somehow they've gone through elimination and just popped back,
They ran the bracket.
and then pretty much just beat FunPlus in finals 3-0. Was really, really clean. So obviously a lot of FunPlus fans were pissed mad
Yeah.
about the bracketing format. And not just that, speaking of MSI this year, actually, when RNG actually won MSI this year. So what happened this year was, so it was Damwon Gaming. Damwon Gaming was able to pick, right? They were able to pick whatever, whichever team that they can go against, which was cool. They're first in groups, that's fine, right? But the thing was, there was a quarantine issue. So basically, it means because summer season was starting for LPL at that time, and then all RNG players, they have to receive 14 plus 7, so 14 days in hotel and 7 days at home,
Yeah.
self quarantine. So that's 21 days of quarantine, right? So because of the quarantine, they had to switch dates. So RNG's game were actually played 1 day prior. 1 day prior, just in case they lose, they can actually just fly back on the spot so that they don't miss, they don't actually miss any games of the LPL.
Yeah.
Right, so basically the finals were played next week. I mean, sorry, not next week, next day, as well as one of the best out fives. So basically it switched times, and then it was very controversial because this means Damwon has to play two best out fives back to back.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of you guys might not really understand why this is such a big issue. But playing especially best out fives and back to back, it's really tiring on players both like physical, physical health as well as mental health. It's really really tiring because it literally puts all players at a fatigue level, right? And basically in the end, RNG won, like because Damwon literally just had to play, like 5 games, like best out five in the morning instead of best out five in the morning, then instead of best out five as finals in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
It's really like playing games back to back, playing sets back to back. It takes a big toll on players, both physical, mental, and no, sorry, not physical, mental, physical health and mental health, because it's really tiring. Because I've played 2 sets of back to back best out fives before, like in person. It was really, really, really tiring. Like your meals, and then you don't really get rest in between. And especially the level of focus you put in. Maybe like your level of focus might run out after like 2 3 hours easily, because you're literally putting so much energy on trying to focus on that 1 or 2 games. It's very 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 important, and then you just don't really have the strength to or the energy to have your focus at 100% at your highest level for the rest of the day. Right, so that bracketing was very controversial because they literally just had to change, and then a lot of Korean fans were really unhappy because RNG won Worlds, and they're like, they won Worlds only because of bracketing, like Damwon won first. Why does someone who came first in the group stage has to has to play a set of back to back best out fives?
Yeah.
That's really unfair. Right, like but the thing is like how good you play how good you're at this game does not like it really is not irrelevant at all to the outcome of the game. There's so much more there's so much more factors you have to put in, like um say the Worlds is gonna be held in Europe this year, or the Chinese players, they have a gigantic you know time gap, so or jet lag rather, right? Because usually, because it's like I don't know, like 14 hours difference or 16 hours, so like usually I'd be asleep, man, and then
Yeah.
it's like playing, it's like trying to focus onto playing games like at a professional level at 4 a.m. in the fucking morning, right? So jet lag, so like the smallest thing can put a team at disadvantage, or it can affect the outcome of the game. Say oh, they went over to Europe, they quarantined for 14 days, right? They self quarantined for 14 days. They couldn't really see any of their relatives in person, or they couldn't really see anyone in person, rather, and they become really stressed out, right? That is a factor of um that really affects the outcome of the game as well. Or they might not have any food or any comfort food that they like to eat there. That affects the outcome of the map. Jet lag, obviously, as I talked before, affects the outcome of the game. Also, like coach picks, or like if you're breaking up with your girlfriend or whatnot.
Yeah. There's a lot of outside the game that can influence inside the game in terms of a mental mindset.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. That's a really good summary. So, and obviously bracketing, as we were speaking. So that was so back to our topic, bracketing. So it's really like a factor of the game, right? Like Riot has made the decision that someone who came first in groups having to play a set of 2 sets of best out fives back to back. Obviously, it comes with a reason. And it comes with like maybe it might be a board decision or like a referee decision. Like it has to be a group decision, because no one can just be like, you know what, RNG is gonna be late for LPL. He's gonna play he's gonna play a day prior. That's not really how it works, right? Like the integrity of the tournament, right? Like even LPL, or like the MSI before or MSI this time, the integrity of the tournament is protected by often by a group of people.
Yeah.
So it's there for a reason. Say it's double elimination bracket, right? That's why EDG won. That's why EDG won. What do you
Summer.
call LPL summer split, right? Right. Like a lot of fans are like, oh, you know what? EDG sucks. They only won because it's double elimination. It's bracketing gap. It's bracketing gap, guys. Like,
Ooh,
come on. And to me, it just feels like it's like it's sort of being a sole loser.
is that
Like
not?
the rules are there. The rules are there
Yeah,
for a reason. The rules is not there for fun or for whatnot. Rules are there for a reason. To like so which pretty much summarizes definitely yes bracket gap, but there's a lot more other stuff outside bracket gap. It might be one of your players has been attacked on Twitter. Like there can be a lot of things. It's not just brackets. Yes, it is a big it is a big thing. But your coach might be suffering maybe like maybe your coach's wife is going out with someone else, right? And your coach gets really, really depressed. Like, why me? Like she's cheated on me, or whatever. And then your coach drafts gives you a really shit draft, and then player gets tilted. Like, what the fuck did my coach draft me? Like my coach literally drafted me into countering myself, right?
yeah,
And then player gets tilted, and then game five, like you're 2-2, you lose the game because you tilted from your coach. Like you can't really blame anything, right? Like I mean you can blame your coach because obviously it's your coach's fault, but like it is what I'm trying to prove. The point I'm trying to prove is there's a lot of factors that can change. That can change the outcome of the game. Like even pauses. Like pauses, there's like 30-minute pauses or 40-minute pauses. Especially pauses. It just breaks everyone's mental. It's like, what the fuck? We should be winning this game already. And then your team and then the enemy team just came make a gigantic comeback.
yeah.
And then your mentals get absolutely demolished. It's like, what the fuck is with that pause? I lost my focus.
It does. It does happen like that.
Yeah, it actually
On
does happen. And then people be like, F, like FF.
yeah,
It's it literally happens. I've experienced it myself, like where we actually made a comeback because my net was down for like 30 minutes, and then they waited for 30 minutes, and then just for us to make a gigantic comeback.
yeah.
They're like, "What the?"
On the point of EDG winning summer, if I'm not mistaken, now I'm not reversing LPL because it's too many games to watch. Um, is that not how RNG won the spring split? Didn't they get knocked from the winners bracket very early and then had to come through the losers bracket?
I'm actually not too sure.
Because I think when I was looking into MSI, that's how. Because EDG was like by far the best team apparently.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure. So I've had a quick look. Yes, that's exactly why. So that's exactly why, because Fun plus Phoenix again. It's Fun plus Phoenix. It's FPX again. FPX is a victim. FPX would have won the spring title as well,
Yeah.
but RNG is like nope. RNG rocks up, refreshed from the losers bracket again, and then sweeps FPX in the grand finals 3-1.
So
Like,
my opinion on that wouldn't be this bloody losers bracket. It's the team in the end who should have won because there's two
um,
chances.
that is really a controversial thing right now because like you see, FPX only has one shot, right? They only like at finals, like when it's at the finals, they only have one shot.
Yeah, there's no bracket reset.
Yeah, but RNG got two shots. RNG was eliminated by Fun plus Phoenix earlier on, 3-0, clean
Yeah.
sweep, 3-0. Right, so they should be out, but in the grand finals, RNG just literally like rocked up from the losers bracket, and then wins the grand finals, like of course, the fans are gonna feel it's not fair. Like my personal opinion, I would think if RNG wins, they need to like FPX deserves another chance that they have to play another set of best out fives.
Yeah, like
Right, so that's
the bracket reset would be the answer.
yeah, I think that would be the answer. But you know, like the hopefully LPL, you know, can figure out something that's more, you know, that's more fair towards the actual winners, the winners team.
Yeah,
But
it's
speaking of EDG, EDG is strong again, and because you mentioned Easy Hoon and Faker before, have to mention EDG's mid laner Scout.
yeah. Who was Faker's sub after Easy Home went off to China,
Yep, exactly.
and
And then
once
after that year, Scout has been EDG ever since.
yeah, because
It's been
Pawn and Deft both came back to uh KT, and then Scout went over.
yep. And you know, it's a long time. It's definitely a long time. Scout's been on the team for a long time, and finally this year you know, he's looking strong with his team, and I'm actually very looking forward to this year's Worlds because the competitiveness, right? I'm talking about the competitiveness of the LPL region is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Is absolutely insane. Why would I say this? Right? You see Europe, right? Europe. Which two teams would be in the final? Of course, G2 Fnatic. They've been there for like years and years, right?
yeah,
And then you talk about NA. NA is like C9 and another team I forgot. Like this year was 100 Thieves, it was different. But usually it's like C9, Team Liquid, or like, you know,
or TSM.
yeah, or TSM. Like it's literally not competitive at all. And you see LCO. Like these two splits this year, the both splits, it's been PGG and Peace. Right, split one, PGG one, split two, Peace one, because Peace got players from you know, OC players coming back from NA, which is really
Yeah.
good to see. You know, our talents actually coming back to our own region.
Mm,
But then you have a look, just have a look at LPL Spring. Right, have a look at LPL Spring. We got Fun Plus Phoenix versus RNG, right?
yeah.
And then we got Summer, Fun Plus Phoenix versus EDG, and then we got like it's literally different. And then if you have a look at worlds, right? Worlds, different seeds, like literally, you see like two or three different LPL teams in worlds every year. So this year, you know, RA was popping off. LNG was actually popping off. Um, like it's absolutely insane. Like the level of competitiveness. Like last year, you know, what I remember was TES, Top Esports, and JD Gaming popping off, and you know, but this year they're all the way down, back down to the bottom. Why? Because if you if you if you don't put in 10 times the effort that other teams are putting in, your team gets all the way, you know, goes all the way, literally go all the way down the bottom. Are they a bad team? No, they're all strong players. But that's just the level of competitiveness in the LPL region. It's really insane. That's what makes LPL region my favorite region to watch.
Yeah.
Right, all their games. And speaking of games, fun fact, right? So NALCS, they average play roughly um less than 100 games. Right, so the pro games, I'm talking about pro games, they roughly play less than 100 games. I think it's around 80-ish per split. Korea plays roughly around 200, and China plays a whopping 280 games per split. That is 7 days a week content. Like you're never gonna get bored. I doubt people even have enough time to watch all their games, right? Like you know, like here, in LCO we play best out ones for the regular season, and in China it's literally best out threes.
Yeah.
The regular season is best out threes. How bloody insane!
It is. It is quite a bit of format because you're playing more games, which means there's less likely of upsets. Now, getting back to the topic of you as a person, As a high elo player, what's some advice that you'd want to give someone looking to climb?
The first advice is to play consistent, right? Being a consistent player just makes you, it literally just makes you cry. Not cry, climb, sorry. It literally just makes you climb, right? You don't look for the LP. The LP comes to you. This is, now think about the sentence I just said. Don't look for LP, LP comes to you. That's what you get for being a consistent player. Don't put too much emotions at your LP gains or losses. Focus more on focus more on yourself. Focus more on your gameplay as as a player, as yourself, rather than overlooking other people. Because in the end, you can't control others. You can only, like, the only variable is yourself. Like, you can only control like how you play in a game, and and if you focus too much on LP gains, losses, or if you gain LP today, it will make you underperform. It distracts you.
Yeah.
Now, take my words for it. If you play consistent, what I mean playing consistent is playing as the best of your ability. Playing as the best of your ability. Like my definition of playing consistent is dying less. Uh, don't take don't take bad trades. Myself in lane. Like, no meaningless deaths. Like my vision score or whatnot. Like, or damage graph if you're carry player. That's my definition of playing consistent. Right. So for me, playing consistent as a support player is like my damage graph compared to the enemy supports, like my deaths, my assists, my vision score, and all that. So if I lose 10 games in a row, like I just did like 2 days ago, right? I can say this with confidence. I have played consistent for 8 games that I've tried my absolute hardest. I've literally only died maybe 2, 3, or 4 times out of the 8 games. Sorry, the 8 games out of the 10 games that I've played absolutely my hardest. I've tried absolutely my hardest. I play absolutely my best. I've died less. I only died 2, 3 times. I had like a lot of assists. I have a really good KDA, and I was really useful to the team.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm not really too worried about about my LP. If I lost like 150 LP in one day, like like, to be honest with you, like, I'm not really worried, because I know if I keep playing like this, I'll climb. Like, because the LP will come to me. It's only at maybe 2 or 3 games that I maybe had like 10 deaths, like a lot of blunders, a lot of mistakes were made. I would try focus on the mistakes of what mistakes I made in that game. Right, there's meaningless deaths, careless deaths, like I face checked, um, or like I simply got hooked or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So try play more consistent. Even if you guys lose like 10 games in one day, you know what? Take a break, have a look at how you played today. Take a moment to self reflect. If you've played if you think you've played very consistently, you're losing LP today, that's fine. That's fine, because the LP will come to you.
Yeah.
So, say if you're an 80 carry player, right? Playing consistent would mean high damage output, 10 CS per minute. If you're a jungle
And
player,
very low deaths.
yeah, and low deaths. If you're a jungle player, obviously, like, your objective control, like, you know, like
Yeah.
mid player 2, like, have I helped my jungle get crabs? Do I have mid prio this game? Could I have gotten mid pro this game? Could I have gotten solo kills or like roams off? Everything. So that's the first point, right? Play consistent. And let's move on to the second, which is try not to type in game. I've said this to a lot of people, and when people actually stop typing, they come back to me and say thank you. I've stopped typing, and I've actually gained much more LP. Because in a lot of scenarios where you typed, but if you didn't type, that game was so winnable. That game was actually so bloody winnable. if you just didn't type. If you typed, like say you're playing well, your jungle's playing well, and then your top was literally inting. Your top is Yasuo hitting 110 power spike, right? And then that Yasuo died again. And then you're like, no, I can't take this anymore. I gotta type to him. I gotta tell him that he sucks. Right? Then you type, you suck. And then your top is like, yep, jungle gap, and then your jungle AFKs.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a lot of people's probably experienced this, right? It's literally like the butterfly effect. You type to your top and your top is like it's jungle gap, and then then your jungle gets upset. Your jungle might be like 10-0 trying to carry, and then when your top says jungle gap, you're like, and then your jungle's like, nah, fuck you, I'm not carrying you.
Yeah, you don't
That
deserve
just
it,
leads
right?
Yeah, that just leads to an AFK, that leads to a possible win. Like, you may have won the game. So do not type, because it not only distracts yourself, like focus on yourself, like focus on your own gameplay. It not only distracts on yourself, like you're gonna play bad yourself, right? You're gonna like your score's gonna look bad, your stats are gonna look bad, right? It looks like it not only looks bad to yourself, like it distracts other people too. It distracts your teammates. Like say it distracts your 80 carry. Yeah, like your 80 carry might be, having 10 CS per minute. He's got like 6 kills. He's got 3 items in 20 minutes. He's in a really good spot to carry. But however, you kept typing to your top, and then your ADC don't have the self-discipline not to look, right? And then he looks at chat. It's really distracting. He might be just making one wrong step when he's pushing, because he's just like autopiloting to push, to shove a lane, but he didn't really think about, oh, is this lane safe for me to push? And then your 80 carry pushes that lane, and then the jungle just suddenly rocks up, kills your 80 carry, gets like 1,000 gold a shutdown, and then they get Baron, and then the game's pretty over. The game's not really pretty. Like, look, the game may not be over, but your ADC's mental is over. If you know what I mean. It's like, fuck, I distracted myself from looking at you stupid pigs talk, and then I've lost the 1,000 shutdown, and then we lost Baron. I couldn't be fuck trying. Like, that's a possible scenario too. So out of all these possible scenarios, right? The butterfly effect started from the moment you type. Right? So kids, do not ever type. Try not to type. If you can't control yourself, right? Or if you're an angry person, just turn chat off. Literally, just turn chat off, and you can't even type anymore. Right? If someone's typing to you, you mute them. Like, you don't really need to give a crap about what they're doing. Like, if they're inting your lane, if they're following you, that's fine. Like, let them be them. You be yourself. Right? Be self-disciplined to play consistently every game, and then I assure you, you will climb 10,000%. You will climb.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a person that gets that sort of gets angry and then can't control yourself, typing to others, try turning your chat off and play for like a week, and then you're gonna come back to this podcast and you're gonna comment, "Thank you." Right? Thank you for telling me to turn my chat off, and I've gained like 300 LP. Right? So that's the second point. Do not type. And the third point is the most important part. In most of your games, do not ever give up. Because when you're giving up, you're literally just giving away your LP for free. Right? LP is gained from them trying hard to win the game. Like, people don't give it away for free. I came back from a lot of games, and it gives a positive influence to your mental too. Right? I've played like this. There's this one Sona game I play. Sona late game. Right?
Soda.
I had a Gathering Storm, and I had a KO top. So all 3 inhibs were down. They had Baron. They had Elder. But we came back. Like, even they had Baron and Elder together. We still didn't give up. We still, try our best to wave clear. No one typed that game. Just trying to focus on the gameplay, how to win the game, how to make a comeback. We came back from a 12k gold deficit at 45 minutes. You know how amazing that feels? After 45 minutes of gaming? Like, from 12k gold deficit. It's 12k gold deficit is literally like a death sentence. right? You had no towers left. They can simply just like backdoor and then
Yeah.
you boom like your LP, like you hand away your LP. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is, do not give up because every game is winnable. Right? I have my anecdotal experience. I've came back numerous games, even this month. Right, this month and last month, like I've came back 2 games from 12k gold deficit alone. Like this, like in not this month, last month in August. Because like this really happens. So like people do tend to keep track of it. It's really that amazing feeling that gives you more confidence to click on that play button for your next game. It gives you confidence, right? It not only gives you confidence, like you're not really wasting your time and nor your mental.
Yeah.
So it's really important not to give up. Try not to give up. If Team FF's at 20 minutes, 4-1, just so be it. That's fine. Just go next, right? But if you're the deciding factor, say it's 3-1, and then the FF button, yes or no, is sitting right in front of you, I want you to click that no button, because any game is winnable. Right? I've even won a game before. It was quite funny. It was back in like maybe 2014, 2015. I won a ranked game because two of the carries were apparently like in the same internet cafe and they were disconnected together due to power outage.
Yeah.
that was literally like a game with like a death sentence game as well. We came back that way. It was really funny. So like miracles may not happen every day, but it will happen once in a while. Like miracles will only happen to people who keep trying. Right? That's that's the one sentence. Like that's all I need to say. So keep trying. Like try not to give up, because if you give up and then maybe if you have a look at your own match history the next day of like, oh, you had a thought like, oh, that game was so winnable, like I should have just kept trying, I should have like even those games when both of your teams are flaming each other, like both your teammates are flaming each other, like the best way is to literally just mute them, right? Mute them, focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or most of the times rather, sorry, and I would usually just tell them to mute each other, or either like I would try, like it's not really anyone's fault. Let's just keep trying and mute each other, or like it's winnable, guys. Come on, let's do this. Like I'm this type of person, right? I'm this type of person because I'm hungry for LP. I'm thirsty for LP. But like the simplest way is literally just let them be, and then when they realize they have no audience, that when they have no audience, they will stop typing. It's really funny. When the flamer realized he has no audience, he would just be like, "Oh, it's boring to type. I'll just play."
Yeah. There's no point anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right, like just play, Like it's winnable, guys. It's winnable. Like like your ADC might just get a random kill, or your Katarina mid might just get a random penta and just carry. Like, right?
Yeah.
Happens. So third point, never give up trying. If you do all these 3 points, right? If you like, no matter like if you're iron, gold, or silver, like platinum, diamond, like whatever, like stick to these. If you're not doing these 3 points, stick to these 3 points. At least try out for 1 week, and then 1 week later, 100%, you'll come back to this podcast and you'll be commenting, "Thank you." 100%. The
Right.
LP comes to you.
So I think that's going to probably wrap up the episode. Was there anything else you want to touch on before we leave it there?
Like League is a very interesting game, right? League is a very, very interesting game because like you win, and you lose, right? It's just like life, right? But the thing is, what's gonna be different is how you treat your losses, or how you treat your downfalls, right? If you always keep that positive mental attitude, you're gonna come back stronger.
Yeah.
All right. So by all means, stay positive, right? Stay positive, like keep your mental positive, stay happy, enjoy the game rather than watching other people flame and waste your time.
Yeah.
And then I hope you guys all climb to diamond by the end of, end of this year.
Woo. Diamond gamers.
Yep. I'm sure like after you guys listening to my tips, you guys are 100% climb, right? I'm I'm literally gonna vouch for myself. You guys 100% climb.
Right. So that's going to end the episode here. Thank you, Free Five, for coming on. Now,
Well, thank you very much, Envy, for having me today.
where can people find you?
So
Shout out
people
some of
can
your
find
socials.
me on my Twitch channel, which is 35OCE, or Twitter /35OCE, YouTube /35OCE, and TikTok at 35OCE. There's great contents up there. You really don't want to miss out. It's suitable for all ages, all elos, all positions, all roles.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure too. All right, thank you guys for listening to the podcast by me and Envy.
And we will see you guys, or I will see you guys in the next one.
Maybe I'll see you guys in the future.
Maybe.